Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Karen Monaco. I'm a light worker and healer for the Awakened Feminine. I help women cultivate a better relationship with themselves so that they can start exploring their spiritual gifts and stepping authentically forward into service. Okay, so today I'm going to share with you just a very simple practice that I have grown to love and really look forward to. And it's so simple. It doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't take a lot of stuff. It doesn't take a ton of preparation. This is something that you could actually start, I think, probably within 30 seconds after the video. And you can return to it whenever you are called and whenever you are guided. Okay, so gratitude is a really popular topic in spiritual circles, and why shouldn't it be? We know that when we're grateful, it's an instant way to shift our vibration, to lift it up, to change and bring our mindset into something that's more positive, and to start calling in what we desire. Now, if we want to call in more of what we desire, yeah, it absolutely starts with being present with what we already have. And a lot of us have a ton of stuff to be grateful for, not just material items, people, relationships, experiences, energies. We have it all, okay? Now, that being said, I will be the first to admit that there are points in life and points, especially on the spiritual journey, where it can be a stretch to find something to be grateful for. People frequently hear me talk about my cups of tea and my fur baby Sebastian. And that's because in the moments when my nights have been the darkest, that cup of black tea with just a spot of milk is what got me through. And in the days when it felt like the world was void of light, Sebastian, looking at his little furry face and seeing him just looking at me with total love also got me through. Okay, now if you reach towards those things that are seemingly small, your cup of tea, your fur baby, a walk outside, a sunny day, maybe I have been grateful for rainy days at times, to be completely honest, but if you start to reach towards those smaller things, over time they start to snowball, and you start to recognize that your energy is shifting significantly. Even if things aren't necessarily changing on the external plane, you will notice that things are starting to happen on the inner plane. And every great transition, every great transformation starts within and then is reflected without. Now, recently I started this practice that I'm going to share with you just kind of on a whim. It was the Pisces new moon. I was sitting in my meditation and it was like dropped into my awareness, like most great practices are. I'm not the first person. I won't be the only person to talk about it. In fact, some of you might already be aware of this practice, but I do encourage you, if you haven't tried it, to give it a shot. Okay, there's so much that is available to you through this very, very simple practice, and I call it the gratitude tip jar. I will be honest, I only have called it the gratitude tip jar for about 90 minutes when I was like, if I'm going to do a post about it, I need to have a name for what the practice is. So I call it a tip jar because it looks exactly like the jar for that we drop tips in at our local cafe, The Grind. Okay, so what do you need? Just 3 things. That's right, 3 things. You'll need a jar or a container. Now, I like glass, to be completely honest, and you'll see why. Okay, so you'll need a jar, glass container, anything goes. My current one, spoiler alert, it's an old candle jar. It's something that a candle came in that I froze the bottoms out of, and that just kind of was hanging around during the Pisces new moon, so I grabbed it. Anything goes. Whatever you have hanging around, make this easy, make it simple. And if you want to make it pretty, then go for that too. I know I have a lot of creatives, artists, people who love to make things beautiful. Okay, second thing, you're going to need little slips of paper. So again, whatever you have hanging around. I don't scrapbook. I have so much scrapbooking paper. I really don't know why I keep buying it. But anyway, so I grabbed a whole stack of my unused, which is all of it, scrapbook paper, and just cut it up into little slips. Of course, I have my trademark purple. All right, so that was the second thing you need. And then the third thing is a pen. I will say that whereas the jar and the paper, you go with what you have on hand. I do think it's worth investing in a nice pen. For me, I love this one for obvious reasons. It's purple. It also writes really smooth. Okay, so once you have those supplies, just go ahead and set it up somewhere that you pass frequently. For me, it's on my dresser. I have 2 pillar candles sitting on opposite sides of it, as well as this beautiful angel watching over it. But set it up, make it look pretty, make it be something that, you know, isn't an eyesore, something that kind of excites you. Let it become a devotional space for the blessings that are already in your life. And you can have crystals. I know all of you have your crystals, so use them, all right? So once it's set up, then go ahead, and this is when the practice part begins, which is, it's not a big fanfare. There's no preparation. There's no creating sacred space. The jar, the sacred space, it's the setup is the sacred space itself. Okay, and anytime you pass it, anytime you feel moved, just drop something you are grateful for on one of these little slips of paper. When I first started this practice, to be honest, I thought I was going to write one thing and drop it in my jar every day, and that didn't happen because I found that I was seeing my jar so frequently that I was just naturally and constantly thinking of things that I was deeply grateful for. And so I didn't censor myself. I didn't stop myself and limit myself to just one thing a day. Some days I write 5, 6, 7 things. Whoop. Other days I might not have anything that I'm consciously putting in the jar, but I will tell you, by having the jar out in the open, by passing it frequently, there are times when I don't necessarily need to write something on the paper for me to feel and experience the gratitude in my life or for my life. All right. And so, like I said, I like glass, or I like a see-through container, because you watch the blessings in your life start to pile up. And yeah, there are some repeat things, but this practice has helped me to experience the miracle in things that I wouldn't previously have experienced the miracle in. For example, today's gratitude. This is a good story. I was driving home. I was stopped at a red light, and there was a gas station over to the right. And I just happened to look out my passenger window, and what I saw was an exchange between people at a pump. There was a guy at one pump, and he was walking over to a woman at the other one, and he handed her a bag of food. My windows were down so I could hear, and he said, it was 2 for 1, so would you like this? I'm not going to eat the second one. And she gratefully accepted it. But I watched her a little bit longer, and she was overwhelmed with this feeling of gratitude. She actually walked to the other side of her car. I could see it. He couldn't. He was getting ready to drive away. But I really was grateful to have experienced that moment. And so I came home and I wrote about it on this little slip of paper and dropped it in. Okay. And I don't think that before this practice, I would have really stepped into that moment with them. You know, I didn't receive anything other than being witness to the exchange, and that was something I was grateful for. All right. So that is what I have for you. I hope that you go ahead and at the end of this video, go gather your jar, gather your little slips of paper, get yourself a nice pen, set it up, and then if you feel called, snap a picture, send it to me at info@KarenMonaco.com, and watch for me to share it over on my Facebook page. All right, thank you so much for being here. Thank you to all of you who have donated through the energetic exchange into my tip jar, which is through Buy Me a Coffee. There's also a link to that down in the comments, but I just wanted to take a moment to really say thank you to everybody who's sent me a latte. They are constantly going in the gratitude tip jar. Okay, but I love you so much. I can't wait to see your jars, and have a beautiful day. Bye.